Almost there.
Awesome.
Now we're live! Yay! Hey!
We did
Yay!
it! Success! Hey!
We live! Hey! Hi everyone!
Hello!
This is Orbian and Bank Sisters. How are you tonight?
Honestly, so anxious. How are you feeling? I'm feeling very anxious.
I am feeling very anxious too. I feel the pressure of everything that's going on in my head. It's like I have, whew, yeah, I feel very anxious.
I
Very.
feel it.
Yeah, it seems like there's definitely something in the ether and it's not anything good. Like a lot of just murky vibes. Ugh.
Yes.
Well, I don't think it's just that. I think I'm anxious about talking about what we've been working on too.
Yeah.
We've been working on this for 2 months or something, and you know that people are just ready to go that's dumb. Why would we do that? Why waste your time with that? Nobody's changing the world with that. We're not getting Medicare with all of that.
I know.
It's a variety of things. It's the world ending very shortly, and it's also leftist criticism. So it's a couple of things I'm having anxiety about.
Yeah, exactly.
Is a pressure that hi Quaker Socialist, hi DJ Comatosis, so good. Comrade Cam, hi. I think it's also the pressure to make it work as I have to have this many people watching because it's the left, the leftist movement. It's so performative that if I am not a celebrity, I am not doing a good work, right? So if I don't have a huge platform, I'm not doing a good job. But let's see the people with huge platform, what are they doing and what are they talking about? Then we analyze for ourselves, really, because this idea of the popularity, it's a very American idea. I'm an observer. I'm learning this culture to see if I can be part of. Another thing I see is this, in many things, is the popularity as a form of value. So I could be here and lie from the beginning to the end, or talk about things that have no meaning or no sense. And then if I had a certain number of people in my platform, I would be believed.
You win, right? Yeah, you win
because I have this many people that follow me. So how can I not be saying the truth?
Right. And if we say anything, then we're clout chasing. Obviously, it's not the fact that these are the most urgent matters in the world. And I'm sorry, if you have a platform of 1 million people, whether it be on Twitter or Twitch or YouTube, and you believe in these ideals, why haven't these people? We're only trying to raise $13,000 to go on a trip to camping, to try to get some people to go camping who've never gone. Some people make that in a week. Okay. Yeah. And they're going to shit on us for trying. And that is what is so insanely frustrating. And so I really hope that these motherfuckers don't make the mistake of doing that, because it's time. And I think we've all talked to so many people who have this pent up Bernie energy. They have this pent up anti-war energy. They have this energy that was supposed to be for the squad. They have energy that's supposed to be for a third party. And there's nowhere for it to go. And what are we going to do? As many of us, we've gone to many rallies. Right. We go to protests.
Yeah, there's only been so many that you can go to. And even last night, look at what happened. A lot of people got beaten up with billy clubs, I guess. What was accomplished? We really have to start thinking about a plan. What is the plan here? We can go and we can protest, of course. But, let me get your phone number so later we can go and do some other shit, we can really start building something. And I understand that, people have a lot of, just emotions. And I love to see that people are getting out into the streets, but we have to start seriously strategizing about everything, because we don't have time. There's no time, as you were saying, Josanna. There is no time.
There's just
we're
no
so
time.
screwed.
And I think it's we do need a strategy, but we do need to be in the streets nonstop. It's not one performative big action.
Right.
It's many actions. It's not one reform that we need. We need many reforms until we break the system. So yes, we have to fight for Medicare for all. Yes, we have to fight to cancel student loan debt. And now the anti-abortion laws are under threat. I mean, we all know that this is also like a Democrats just play whatever. But we have to fight for all of this. But if we don't pay attention to the large scale, which is climate, we won't understand that the villain that is attacking us here in the US, that is making us feel oppressed, is doing the same thing to the rest of the world. Level hard. And yes, we have to care for it, because when we fight internally here against imperialism, against the system that is rigged and that is killing us in here, we fight for the world. So the hero we want to see from the movies, Marvel, blah, 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 is us, people in the United States of America. So yes, every single topic about the world, it is important, and it is my topic too. And we also have to organize and strategize to know how we're going to do this, because they are pushing back heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, Ministry of the Disinformation Sisters. I mean,
oh my God. But Josanna, I think the biggest thing out of all of that too, the American part of it is, I think that we don't have community. Hey Nick. We don't have that sense of community here. And when we're talking about something like climate, it makes me think of like, how are we going to band together? Because this isn't just about what can be. This electoralism, obviously, we know is not going to save us. So we have to be building actual communities and coalitions where we can help each other in an emergency. Maybe your house gets burnt down and you now know somebody who lives somewhere who has a place where you can, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to have to be making those connections. They're not looking out for us. They're not caring about rising sea levels or the forest fires. Like, Biden's executive order was on Earth Day was to make a list of trees that will be that are possibly in danger of wildfire. Guess what? Just say it's all of them and get to work.
And move on.
I mean, this is where we're at, and they're giving us bullshit. And you have a climate scientist like Wynn Bruce who lights himself on fire because it's so dire and nobody's listening. And so, yes, like, what else can we do but get together, but start building community, because nobody else is looking out for us, and they've got their own resources. You know, we've got to be able to, be able to rely on each other. And that's why I think this is so important. You know, just getting offline, because they, especially in America, they really want this. They want us to be afraid of our neighbors, because fear is how they keep us all in line with these teams. And I think we really have to break that down, because we're so propagandized here that we've got to just keep saying, hey, talk to somebody that you might not agree with. Hey, like, even just saying hi to somebody at like the grocery store now, like, they're putting up self-checkouts. They don't want you talking to anybody.
Yeah, they don't want you talking about what is actually going on. And we have to really just like be cognizant and be vigilant. And, I mean, you've made such a good point that, do you guys think that the people who did the January 6th insurrection had never met each other before? Like, they've been to tons of rallies together before. They've all hung out together before. They've been tailgating or whatever. And on the left, that's a huge thing that we're lacking, is just getting out and like physically being with each other much more.
For the FBI listening, we're not doing an insurrection. We're just going camping. That's just an example. They're always listening and watching. So
yeah, because like we are gonna say like that's we're gonna go camping. We're gonna go camping, and all they want to do is this podcaster camping and get together in summer. And what are they doing? So like, thanks, sisters, please. What are they doing? Are we just gonna go camp?
Let's hit it. Well, okay. This is a lovely idea from a group of amazing organizers who've been working behind the scenes for about like 2 months. So we've got a little presentation that we can share with you guys about the camp. If you haven't seen it yet, on Twitter, it's called Camp Dada, and we can, Josanna can explain what Dadaism is. Yes, please do.
So Dadaism is a movement, is an artistic movement that was in the times a little previous or in the times of First World War, and artists that were in that time of existence, so artists and celebrities are two different things. Artists are always making a critique of their time, but also fighting for justice, for more just times. So by this time in the war, they were feeling like there was nothing, that they were feeling like there was no inspiration. And because the egos were so inflamed with all dictators, and that you had to have like a human god, and they were against repression. And also, so they decided to do an international, around the globe artistic movement for that time. And they decided to call it Dadaism, because Dada means nothing. Because like you can say Dada in any language can go and say Dada. So they decided that this was going to be what would get this movement together, and it worked. So yeah, it's an inspiration for the name of the camp.
Yeah, wow. It was a great idea. I mean, because we were really, going through a lot of different ideas, and that one seemed to strike everybody, I think. So it's pretty nice.
And of course, the way Josanna explains it's not too bad.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
So Camp Dada, this is a grassroots movement of some podcasters, some YouTubers, some people who are activists, organizers. Some people are trying to unionize in their workplaces. So it's a ragtag group of all of us, not any one specific organization. And our main our
I'm
main
trying to look at both things at the same time. It's like impossible.
Our main focus of the camp is we're gonna each day, so we're gonna be there for 3 days, and we're going to the Hamptons area. And Lucy, who's on one of the women's panels with us,
she's in the chat.
She's in the chat.
What up, Lucy? What's
up? She had a great idea that maybe instead of doing a rally in DC and possibly like bothering people on their way to work, that we go to the Hamptons where the rich people are. And so we are going to be camping in the Hamptons, and each day is going to have a different focus. So the first day, we're going to focus on the climate or on healthcare. Then we're going to be focusing on the climate crisis, and then the general strike. And what that means is that each day is going to have some sort of like programming around it that focuses on those events. And we would like to incorporate art demonstrations. And we can go through some examples of that as we continue on here. But those are the main focuses, because we think they're all pillars of really urgent matters.
Right. Okay, so this is kind of our goals list. And as we said, community building and bond building is number one. Absolutely. Poor people joy. I mean, look, as was said in the chat already, a lot of people who are coming to camp have never been to camp before. That's who we're looking for, I think, as well, kind of a connection of skill sharing. And so people who have camped a lot will be attending, and they can help the people who have never been camping, who just want to get out of the city. And you know what? We deserve to, just enjoy these nice spaces. So, why not? Okay, so we're going to be working on some strategy sessions, kind of like what we're talking about. We just kind of need to make some plans. Art demonstrations. We have some very exciting ideas for those. I feel like we can't really tell any of them yet.
One example doesn't give it. Well, we better not. Well, you're right. We better not. You have to join the notes.
Yeah.
We're gonna document it all.
We're trying. What we're trying to do is think of things that moving on to rich mischief will annoy the shit out of rich people. And
but won't get us into trouble.
But we're not looking to get arrested, because we don't want to give the cops our money. We're not looking for that at all. That's why this whole Dada thing, we're gonna keep it artsy and fun and interesting, with making a very important statement with each day and every little thing that we do. So yeah, we'll be talking about mutual aid. We have someone who wants to teach about tech and privacy and how to be safe, you know, when you're out in the street protesting, and how not to be tracked and all that kind of stuff. Building labor unions, skills exchange, and then fireside chats will be just, you know, the way that we share all this info. So it should be pretty fun.
Yeah, the fireside chats is well, because we're going to be having so many different people, we've got support from Socialist Alternative. Unfortunately, they're having their like get together thing that same weekend, so they can't come, but we do have some people who are helping us and supporting us with planning this. And so and we've got people from the Green Party, we've got, you know, anarchists, we've got Quakers, we've got all different kinds of people on the left. And I think it's a really good time for us to have discussions like, what do we do for a third party? What is the thing? And really be able to kind of break down some of the fractures that they want us to have. So, you know, we're hoping to, if you're a videographer, photographer, which we'll get to later too, but it would be nice to get some cool content for that too.
Yeah, we definitely want to document it really
so we can share with everybody, of course.
Yeah, because of course, the number of people we're going to have, our max number right now is 56, I think, 50 people or so. And we've got, I don't know, 14?
We have like 18 people
maybe 18, yeah. So so we definitely have a little bit of space, and we're trying to do everything, trying to kind of keep everything, you know, because we don't know each other, trying to, you know, vet people by just like having one-on-one conversations, and like, you know, making sure that everything's copacetic and that, you know, everyone will be cool in a camp environment. We're not going to agree 100% about everything, but that's not the point of this. You know, the point is to get to know other leftists and, you know, get to work.
Yeah. So the budget, real quick, just to be, we want to be really transparent about all of this, because we know that we ain't got no money. I don't know if y'all do, but I don't like people being funny with it. So basically what we need are campsites, because it's like a state park kind of situation. So you've got to, you know, get all the campsites, and some people have already donated the cost of the campsite, as you can see there. So some people who are coming, they just have purchased their own campsite, and they're going to make that as a donation. So if you, and we'll talk about donations as we keep going, but if you can't go and you want to donate a campsite, this is a great example of a way to support people, because, you know, they're going to be leftists who can't afford to go but would like to go. And maybe we want them in the conversation, you know. Obviously, camping equipment, a lot of people who haven't gone, but we're going to be looking for a lot of secondhand stuff. Of course, you know, trying to get things on the cheap if we can. That's always our goal. So we will have, do you want to talk about the link for that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I will put it, I can't.
Well, just if we're going to do secondhand stuff.
Yeah, well, we're going to try to do secondhand stuff. Honestly, that is kind of part of our goal, is that we would love to do that. We have a gear team, a couple of people who are focused on finding us gear and making sure everybody's got what they need. So we're going to set it up as an Amazon wish list, guys. It's a struggle. Okay. It's a struggle. I looked at all the different options.
She did.
It turns out that so there's just so many problems with us being able to like basically, you know, not give you our address or any of the gear team's address, and then still be able to actually get the materials. So we're working on solutions for that. But in the meantime, we'll have an Amazon wish list, and we'll have like a myregistry.com wish list, and you can just go on, search for Camp Dada, and you'll see what everything that we have there. Don't worry, we didn't say yet the location and all that good stuff. So
yeah, the exact location, that's for us to know, some of you to find out. Just because, you know, we don't want them to try to undermine our plans.
That's what Nick is saying. Nick's saying that I want to highlight it. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism. This is another thing that we're going to talk when our guests are in here. People like shaming you because you bought a bottle of water, and then like 70% of the gas emissions are coming from the big corporations. So there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, unfortunately.
Right.
That was an amazing point that you made in our meeting. It really,
because
it sucks, because of course we don't want to have to use Amazon, but
it's just for this specific thing with the shipping. The shipping is the main problem, honestly.
And of course they've got around the market. There's a possible storage unit if we are going to ship everything to the Amazon wish list. But we're trying to like work our way around that, and maybe we can hold on to some of it and get it up there. Tech, like speakers, mic, a projector, those are things that for like demonstrations, other kind of supplies for the demonstrations, kites. There's an idea for that.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Yeah,
of course. Food. We want to have group meals. We think that that's really important to be building community. We want to have some people who are the chefs and who cook and make sure maybe we switch those off by day, but we want to make sure that we're really building that sense of what it means to live in a community.
Right.
Of course, some gas money, because we're going to have to be shuttling people. The Hamptons, of course, rich people made it so
impossible.
Cost barrier. So you can't really get anywhere like walking. So if we want to go do some of the things, we might need like a van or two so we can transport groups of people. So that's a cost. If you have a van or a bus and you're on the East Coast,
like a 10-person bus, not like a big bus, like a a little
or
shuttle,
a shuttle. Maybe you have a church or something that you work with, and you're there. So these are things that would, and then we can just take those right out of the budget, of course, if they're donated. And then some permits, because we want to do something, we want to do like a barbecue kind of a thing one day, and you have to get a permit for that. It's crazy. And a bail fund just in case. But we are also working with like another legal woman. What's her name? Allison, right? She's so kick-ass. She's of course been on RBN and other things before, and so she's like helping us check on stuff, because we want to make sure everybody feels safe and that we're not leading people to get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Hilarious. I'm like just now realizing that I didn't even make like a sheet that says like the date and the time.
And one other thing, so about the stuff being donated afterwards, I think we might have one more discussion, but we're gonna probably be donating most of the tents that are donated and sleeping bags, but then bigger things, items,
like a fire pit,
and
like there's some things that like we have to get, especially just for camping, and it's like, I mean, what can a homeless person do with a fire pit? That might not be a safe thing to do, so
so just we will be transparent about that moving forward. So skills that we need to make this come together. So we're gonna have people who are cooks, we're gonna have prep teams, we're gonna have people who are cleaning teams. We definitely need a dope videographer, photographer, each different.
If anybody has a drone,
let us know.
I think or can fly a drone. I don't know how to do that, but let us know. We've got some ideas for that.
And the really important thing about that too is creating content. I think the left really forgets the value of looking cool. The left is cool. We are right. We want good things. So I don't understand why we can't be showing people all of our stuff in a very young and attractive, progressive manner. So I think we really want somebody who is looking to has a cool eye and put something together, and not just okay, camp pins and dog sitters, because we might have people with pets and we want to just make sure that everybody's watching the camp. So here are ways that you can get involved.
Okay, so the camp is going to be over Labor Day weekend. So it's going to be the September 2nd to September 6th for campers. And, Labor Day will be the general strike action day. So that should be pretty fun. So definitely reach out to us. If you saw the Twitter, it's at Info Change Camp, which is also under Camp Dada. So definitely, send us a DM, let us know that you're interested, and we can kind of start the process of getting some campers, which we're very excited about. The location is going to be, I guess we already said the location. So it's, the Hamptons. So that's New York. So if you can get to NYC somehow, then we'll figure it out from there. We're gonna have people carpooling and taking trains and buses and everything.
If you obviously, not everybody can come, only 56 people is the max. So we would love to have support via donations. Maybe you've been camping and you've had that experience, to give that to somebody else who's never been. That'd be really cool. And also just to, get the ball rolling, because the kind of conversations and bonds that can be built here, you don't know what that can actually lead to. And I think one of the biggest hindrances on the left is that we don't trust and know each other. So I think that this is a really important step. So if you believe in these things, that's something to get behind. And you can read more about our story on our Give Butter page. And if you can't go, there are other ways to get involved. We're going to be having a virtual team because we have a lot of support behind the scenes from like Savage Joy, from Comprehend Misty will be going on her show tomorrow, her radio show, to talk about this. And like Kim Brown, JV, of course, everybody at RBN. So we're going to do a virtual portion of this where we want people to be sharing their stories with 1-minute videos, but they're going to be developing that. And so we'll amplify that and we'll let you know as we go along. But yeah, a lot of this is just to show how big our community is. And, you know, a lot of people who have energy and don't know what to do with it. I think that this is a really good thing that is like, make you feel like you get involved right now.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, what else can we tell you? Did you go through all of these?
I just like to say that like we have like there is this technique that's called theater of the oppressed. We're gonna have one day to talk about it soon. And it teaches us like even our presence per se irritates and bothers and it's like invisible theater, because just by us being there and being joyful is already pressure, because they need to know that we know where they live.
Mm-hmm. Right. And this area is they've made it very much so that it's public, but it's hard to get to, right? Mm-hmm. And so I do agree. It's much like, you know, that it's a Black joy. It's all of that. They want us to be run down, stressed out, and all of that stuff. So even if you can help your fellow leftists just be able to take a breath, you know, that is something great too, and something that they don't want us doing. So, and who knows how much more we'll get to enjoy of nature.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another thing we're working on, is just so actually I can show the Give Butter page.
Yes.
Oh yes, okay.
So you're still sharing your screen, right? So just.
Oh no, I'm sharing a certain thing though. Hold on. Hold please.
What's going on? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
No, it's still in that. Okay, I gotta stop and then I gotta restart. That's the trick.
Okay, and this is the Give Butter. And we really would like prefer not to get money in this account, just, you know, taxes and all of that stuff. So
well, it's a
yes
catch
and no.
It's a catch-22, guys, because if we want to be able to purchase use things like, you know, like a tent from Craigslist or something, then I need to be able to give the gear team, you know, $25 to go, okay, now go buy that tent. So it's kind of a catch-22, but we don't want to collect huge funds in here. I mean, if you want to give us a large donation, you know, maybe reach out to us separately, but you know, our goal is 13,000. I know it sounds crazy, but I swear Court went through this like 800 times. So like it is what it is. Like we tried our best to kind of get it down, but this is like worst case scenario, and we're gonna work down from there. You know, any way that we can possibly save money, we're going to. Josanna's gonna make us rice and beans. It's gonna be great. Like we're gonna try to keep it as low profile as possible.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Ooh, I am going to be cooking.
Let's see. And someone else was asking about the permits. Those are more for that's like technical stuff for the camp. You know, it's not about the fire stuff. It's about the but they also, they don't allow fire on the ground. So we're gonna have to buy fire bowls. So that's like a cost that we weren't expecting, but
yeah, they have a lot of little things like that, but just to try to make it more difficult. So, but yeah, if anybody has a van and you're on the East Coast, if you want to learn more, you know, please reach out and DM us on the Camp Dada Twitter. Just type Camp Dada. It's also at Info Change Camp. And we're probably going to make like some shirts, so you could possibly buy a shirt and do that way. One of the shirts is going to say like Leftist Camping Coalition. I just had to make up a name that was like putting on the camp because I didn't want it to be my name. I felt like that was weird. So that's what it is. Leftist Camping Coalition.
Actually, that's a good point. Another stupid Amazon thing, because I already, you know, had an Amazon account many years ago. My phone number is attached, so I couldn't make the Amazon wish list I couldn't make it say, you know, it was from the camp. So it has my name, but then the camp. So it's not, there are barriers. This is why we're trying to be so transparent, because we don't want any funny business. Okay. We're not making funny GoFundMes. That's all I'm saying.
And now I think that's all the information we have. And
yeah,
back to you.
Awesome. I'm here chatting with our guests. They're all here already. I just need to.
Lovely.
Dan is having a problem.
I'm gonna have
for connection. I think he is being able to fix it. Do you all have any questions that we can respond to you in the comments?
Sure, I will have a look-see. Tabletop
Not
girls?
Silly questions.
No. Yeah, tabletop girls. Yeah, I put up a couple of those like little grills on there as well. Just
something too.
Exactly. We definitely need teams of people. So when you guys sign up to go camping too, you know, everybody's going to have a job. So, you know, we're going to send out a little thing and say like, okay, I want to be on the trash team. I want to be on the, you know, dog sitting team, whatever the case may be. We're going to try to make it a really tiny little cool little commune, I guess, for a little while. It's not the 70s. We don't have money. That's how they did it in the 70s. It was like somebody was like, oh, my dad gave me 100 acres, you know, let's build a biodome.
Oh, here, a good question.
Very good.
Love that question.
Love that. We've mostly been camping on the West Coast, which is kind of funny. So it'll be interesting to go camping on the East Coast.
Yeah, this is my first time camping. Well, maybe first or second in years.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, a West Coast one, yes, we would. I mean, it would be dope. We would need somebody who wants to lead that up. All you would have to do is really, we want to make it synergistic as we have more. We want to have some in, the middle of the country, some in the South. I mean, that would be amazing. So if you're interested, definitely reach out to us about that too, because it would be cool if they're like sister projects.
Yeah.
And that we.
I'm gonna bring our guests on. Have here Dr. Lorena. Hey, Lorena, tudo bem? Que bom que você tá aqui, obrigada. I'm just like,
hello.
Having the little opportunity to speak Portuguese a little bit is always good. Thank you so much for being here. So Lorena is PhD in urban studies, and she agreed to be here with us to have this conversation about climate change. We also have Moinina Koroma. Hello, Moinina. Am I pronouncing your name properly? Just unmute yourself. I'm gonna check if Moinina is having any problems. So Lorena, can you please go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everybody. Pleasure to be here. I'm Lorena. Go by Lori Verf. That's me on social media. So I'm a forester. I study forestry. Started studying a couple years ago, and I came to the United States to focus more on urban forestry and environmental justice. And as part of my dissertation, I started exploring cultural ecosystem services, which is a way that which are one type of benefits that nature provides to us regarding how we how we connect to the nature. And I've been working with GIS as well. I work as a GIS instructor. And one thing that exploring more about environmental justice, urban forestry, and working in the urban environment, I've been reflecting how sometimes like IPCC rules or recommendations might not be a great fit into all cities. So and in science, especially environmental sciences, it can be like a very white field, not considering cultural diversity. So these are things that I've been exploring through the years. So I'm excited to be part of this discussion and see what other people experience and perspectives as well.
Yes, we are here to learn from you guys, because we've been hearing so much, and especially in the US, we have so much distraction from what really matters in this moment right now. So it's every day a little bit of distraction. So, and everything happens really fast with the era of information. So it's important for us to like, no, wait, take a step back. What can we do? Because when we say we don't have no more time, it's also like, okay, but what can we do? And we don't have the time to hear because there is Met Gala, right? So we need to like get our priorities together, which is like surviving as human race. Also, Moinina, thank you so much for being here. I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. Moinina
Yeah,
Coroma. Yes, and
yeah,
Moinina
it's
is
correct.
Sierra Leone, right?
Yes, really, yeah.
And he is with the Scientist Rebellion, a group of scientists. They're fighting climate change. They're fighting climate change denial in the world, right? Would you talk to us a
Yeah.
little bit about it?
Okay. Good day, everybody. I am Winina from Sweden, like Josanna already said. I am part of the movement called Scientist Rebellion Global. We are in the lookout for scientists and also activists across the entire world that want to actually take action to promote climate justice across. And also, normally they normally undertake disobedience events, and also they bring up solutions towards addressing the problem. They are not only asking people to stop, but also providing solutions to across to address the climate crisis. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We also have Daniel from XR NUIC. So this is Extinction Rebellion NUIC. Dan is an activist. They are on the ground. And
Yes.
he agreed to
Okay.
talk to us.
Can you guys hear me at all?
Yes, we can. We can. Oh, he will come back. You all know how I am. I will talk to activists. And if they want to talk to me, I will be like, thank you. Because and I would take whatever they can give because he's gonna be back and he's gonna be talking to us. Because they had a whole schedule, the whole month of April of actions in New York. And these people are under threat right now. Menina, then so it's important that we give them platform and we can learn from them. It's really important to know that each and every one of us can be an activist, can be a voice, and we have to. It's not only Monina, only Lorena, only no, there are no celebrities in the field of surviving. So I will see if I can bring them then back up. Hi Dan, can you hear us? It's okay. Let me see if he can respond. Can you?
Okay.
Yay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. I gave up my headphones. Sorry. Okay. So I'm outside. Yeah. So I'm an XR NYC. I'm with the scientist group. So what we focus on a lot of times is mostly outreach and stuff. Personally, I work at NASA GISS in paleoclimatology. But and we have a couple other people who also work in like some people have PhDs in biology, other work as teachers and educators as well in New York City. And what we try to do a lot is focus on the outreach component of XRNYC. So like you can see why people in New York are protesting and why they're angry. And our job specifically to kind of bring them to understand why we are angry and what the science is behind all of that. So great to meet you all. Currently outside right now. I'm really sorry about that, but I'll try to listen as best as I can. But yeah, and currently the biggest thing we're pushing for right now is trying to get some activism towards a citizens assembly of sorts, which is kind of like bringing together an equal council of New Yorkers randomly selected to kind of get to addressing climate issues that face New York City specifically and see if we can get change enacted on a local level. So that is kind of like our thing. Yeah.
This is amazing. I can't wait to be on the floor with you guys. I'm in New York. Lorena,
yeah.
You were talking about Lorena wants to bring up the question of like what you call like discriminatory and maybe marginalized access to environment. Would you develop on that for us a little bit?
Yeah, so in the environmental justice movement, there's a lot of discussion about environmental racism, and when we see like Superfund sites, in Brazil we have like Superfund site close to communities of color, close to low-income communities, especially Black and Indigenous community. Indigenous people not having land rights. In Brazil, we have a big issue going now with the Yanomami tribe and mining as well. So, but thinking about one of the things that I explore during grad school and I've been want to bring more of this conversation to the environmental justice agenda is the how the even by some environmental associations such as the IPCC and major NGOs and even governmental agencies, the way that they create regulations towards the space, the environment, can provide discrimination and marginalize some groups because not everybody use the space in the same way. And we can see that when we like one of the things we're discussing here, the last report on the IPCC. Of course, we need to change our habits, and but I don't think we should put those pressure into communities that are already vulnerable because they're already struggling to have access to the environment. So you want to have some communities to take some accountability. They don't even have access to that. So we have some examples like in Brazil, there was a surfer instructor, Matheus Ribeiro, that was he was using one electric bike, and people accused him to steal the bike because on the same day there were a white couple that had the bike stolen. So if a person, and he was a black surf instructor in one wealth part of the city, so you kind of like not expect that a black person is doing recreational activities. It's not the way to use the environment. We often see uh, as just like, and I don't want to not saying that environmental racism and we should not advocate for uh, like uh, but I think that we should also kind of use like some reimagination to also see our place in the using this space. There's also the example of the Armand Arbery that was shot because he was running. So he was running in one neighborhood that had high tree canopy, and we are not supposed to access those space. So it's kind of like a burden to uh, just uh, expect us to work on climate change and then to put all this accountability. But we also need to consider that we're not even able to use a space as a person of color, and especially Black and Indigenous community. So uh, there is one author that Fine that explored the frameworks of reimagination and kind of like to change this narrative of how, especially like how Black and Indigenous peoples use their space, and that kind of relates to Afrofuturism. So we can kind of, based on our ancestry, the ways that our ancestors use the space, and trying to bring that back in recreational, especially in recreational. That is one of the cultural ecosystem services. We have this like camping activities, hiking activities. There are activities that Indigenous people have been doing for ages, and now, and sometimes it can become something that end up like excluding or even like having some associated to white supremacy activities like fishing, yeah, hiking, hunting, but they are also part of Black and Indigenous culture. So we need to talk, of course, about environmental racism, but we also need to think about how we reclaim our space and how we can think about even other solutions for climate change that might be relying on Black and
And
Indigenous
Lorena, I wanna make a little, not to just sorry to interrupt, but not to interrupt, but I want to throw a little hook on there and throw that to the panel tonight, like Dan, Moinina, Keisha, Courtney, and Lorena, when we think about the discriminatory like examples that you presented, and then I'm gonna share the screen with you here. I'm gonna show a video that Nick, see if I learn it properly. So this scientist is saying that we have no time, basically. In the last environmental convention, that's what came to, so we're here. Is it working?
I don't think we have the sound.
No sound.
Okay.
No sound.
Okay, no sound still. I said.
Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 second, I'll fix that. So what he's basically, I sent this video to all of you. What he's basically saying there is that we have no time. That we have basically 3 years, right? So in that, like, because like, of course, if you take to the bigger picture, environmental discrimination, you can see what's going on already in third world countries, in countries in development. We are already hit by climate change. We are already, there are images of a man, of a house of a man in Brazil, in Petrópolis, where the water comes in and destroys his house. And like, you know, in that video that he died. And 300, like more, almost like 500 people already died in Petrópolis as well. And there are the droughts in Somalia. And we are questioning, like, can you consider these things? Like, can you socially, how can we socially involve, and how can we spread awareness to something to actually happen in that scenario? Moinina, I want to start with you.
The question again.
How can we find?
Yeah, I think the network was actually not too good.
Sorry, what?
I said I think the network had to break down in certain parts of, more especially the ending.
Can you hear now?
I only heard you saying social, and I didn't hear the other part.
Sure, I will repeat the question.
Okay.
How can we consider like inclusion? Because in the bigger picture is already discriminating, because here we don't see much, but always in the poorest communities and in countries in development. So how can we consider inclusion and at the same time stop time, because we only have 3 years before we reach the 1.5 degrees that we are trying to avoid?
Okay, in the first place, it's a pleasure, really. Normally, because within the African space, generally the parameters at which we are faced with climate change is actually as a result of 3 basic gaps, because the effect here has to deal with one, because I did my undergraduate research work around climate change, when I pursued rural development as a course at the university. So upon concluding, I had to do my research work titled "The Impact of Climate Change on Rural Livelihoods, Especially the Agricultural Linked Livelihood," and some of the findings were actually provide. And also I provide certain solutions based on some of the problems I already identified. So within Africa itself, from a lot of work and also some of the research we have done, you see, because we do have massive amounts of rural or deprived communities within developing countries normally. And also, when we say rural or rural communities, they are highly deprived and they have vulnerable people across. These people depend on maybe the agricultural sector and the natural resources for them to earn their livelihood. Then also the next aspect has to do with gap in education, wherein they lack the educational materials across, because we do lack education. In fact, that's why even for our country as a whole, the government priority policy has to do with free quality education as a way of actually capacitating human capital development. So you see, so for developing country, because I can't I can't analyze problems based on the overall context, because we do have different problems there, and also we have different problems, but we do believe we are already having similar targets as the entire world, which is to cut down emission, global emission. So when you want to approach some of these things, I do believe from the development point of view, for every solution you want to profile as a whole, or you want to provide any solution, you need to consider the people, because addressing solutions with people will have to actually see how best the solution becomes lasting, and also for the people to actually gain ownership in such. So it's not just about you telling the people no, cut down trees, or you telling the people, I mean, stop cutting down trees, or you telling the people some of these things, no, stop charcoal burning or wood burning, because people do some of these things for their livelihood as a source. But what you bring, okay, stop down this and bring an alternative for them to analyze and see that yes, no, if we embark on this and we embark on this, there's massive difference in such. And also making people feel part of the process. As long as you make people feel part of the process by getting them involved, getting their inputs, engaging them, capacitating them, then definitely you are already including them part of the process, and you're making them feel among the solutions we all yield and we all want for the entire world for a better future. So inclusion, everything around inclusion has to do with research. So we have several solutions. We are talking about several solutions. We are talking about the crisis. We are talking about everything occurring. These things are happening, and humanity knows it. But certain people actually are saying these things are happening as a result of it's a natural cause, not because of human activities. So you see, changing their mindset will also help in contributing such. So that's why I said everything has to be people centered in everything we are doing, for us to have inclusion and for us to have a sustainable approach in everything we are working towards and the entire goal we want to meet. So I would like to stop here for now, and as we proceed.
Sisters, would you like to add anything?
Just touching on, I mean, those are all such great solutions that we can try, but it makes me so worried as an American, because when you even talk about education, that's a huge hangup that we have here, you know, and people are, people think that they're highly educated here, so it's really hard to get through to them. And it's not just that. I mean, it's what you're mentioning, even about like the alternatives that we talk about a lot here about coal. And whenever people talk to coal miners, they don't offer alternative jobs, and that's why we get a lot of the pushback. And that makes sense, because you can't take people's livelihoods away. But then the inclusion part, I feel like, when are they gonna, I don't know how we get that here. And I definitely think those are great solutions, but for us, it's I think that they're going to wait until technology or some company comes in to save us, and we need to be beyond that. Our government just doesn't seem to want to take the reins.
Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they're going to do the easy, some of the easy things that could actually help us. Like, for instance, we're talking about inclusion. We haven't talked about class really yet either. So, a poor person is not able to just get rid of their car and go out and get an electric car. That's a stupid solution. I'm sick of them saying that over and over again. That's not the solution. But what they could do is give people rebates to, put insulation in their roofs. They could, help people get solar panels. They could, tap into,
make earth sheltered homes.
Exactly. There's a lot of things that we could do. And I think that, as we're thinking about class, another thing I just, that we were talking about earlier is just climate denial. And, what you were saying about education is important. I think let's try to educate as many people as we can just on a person-to-person basis, because we were listening to something earlier and everything they were talking about was so far away. You know, you need to talk to your neighbor and say, like, there's no more,
this is now.
There's no more like crayfish in our little creek over there. Why is that? You know, you said the other night there's no freaking grasshoppers or something.
There's barely any like, fireflies. Like, I feel like
what's happening?
There's a lot of education here where I think they make it very abstract for people and far away. And I think one thing's like that Americans need to do, or maybe just all of us generally, but because I think we're so dumbed down, is I think you have to make it very personal and local. Like how many different bees do you see? You know, have you seen a grasshopper lately? You know, because we're in our area, a lot of the biodiversity is gone, and it really terrifies me. And I think you've got to like have people really looking around at their surroundings, but we're so distracted that, you know, they don't want us doing that. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it again because like I don't give up. So can you see this article here? Ladies. Oh.
Look at us trying to be polite, and then you're like leaving us. Sorry. Yes, we had it. It's up there.
Okay, awesome. So, okay, just 100 companies responsible for 71% of global emissions. And I've been through this article before with Nick. So like when we talk about like the oppression and discrimination and like, because like not making this public, not talking about the real reason why the planet is in the point there is right now is a form of oppression, is a form of control. Because I manipulate the information that gets to people, and then they don't know that this is what's going on, right? And we have this way to like, oh, you bought this bottle of water, oh, you're doing, and like policing each other as a way to also getting distracted from the main reasons, right? From the main reasons. And I was listening, because I couldn't watch it, but I was listening to a documentary today. They were in Central America, and they were like, they were talking about social collapse, because like you cannot ask for communities, for human beings in communities that are already pressured by climate change. Like the whole community has to move. They have to you live there your whole life out because there is a drought or because there is a flood. Like sea level rising means more flood. We people that are not scientists, we need to understand these things. And of course, this information is not clear or out there for everybody. I saw you.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you're just reminding me of this documentary that I saw, Climate Refugees, like years ago, and it was amazing. And a lot of what they were talking about was a place called Tuvalu, which is an island that's like literally people today are walking in water up to their knees, and it's in between Australia and New Zealand, and I can't remember which one or the other. Maybe New Zealand or one of them doesn't want to take anybody over the age of like 45 or something. And if you can't be gainfully employed. So, I mean, this is going to affect, poor people, elderly people. I mean, it's going to affect everyone. And I think the more that part of what we're also not talking about is just like, Court's always talking about climate denial. I mean, like, I know I'm in denial. She's the only person who's like literally not in denial, but we have to, I mean, the time, what you're saying about, the timeliness of this, it's like the time is now, and we can't, I love that. Thank you for making me feel better about the Amazon thing, because it's not our fault. We're not one of these companies that are causing all of these problems. We're just living here,
I love what Lucy is saying here. In NYC, a lot of people got killed by the last flood because they lived in the basement. So like these are everyday things like that will happen. And I don't understand why we are not moving towards like, and we have, that's why like in the beginning of this stream, I was like, we have to have actions every day, especially in 2022, which is the election year. We have to pressure politicians, corporations. We have to. And we have to understand why when scientists get together and go to the streets, they have, say, I don't know, five. And then you have like the whole country in cops coming for them. Why? Just like five scientists. There's an image about that in LA, like seven scientists and like this whole army of cops with gear, like they had like nuking stuff. It's like, why? You have, when we see these things, we have to ask ourselves why. The concept of theory of conspiracy was invented in the 60s because it's so on our face, everything that the government and oligarchs has been doing, that they need to tell us that we are conspiracy theorists. This is a lie because they need the distraction to keep on acting. They need us to keep on bleeding. My dear Lorena, I want to get your thoughts on that because I'm like blah 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 blah. Sorry.
No, that's great. And was good that Moinima and Keisha and Courtney were talking about education, and that is like what I also believe. And you also mentioned about like thinking locally, like as the comment of people like live in the basement of New York that are impacted by flood that happen in other cities as well. And one of the things too that combines like education and also data empowerment. So uh, the education, data empowerment, storytelling, so people can tell their stories, can explain what is their issue. So we can, okay, we need to reduce carbon emissions, but how can I do that in my community? How can I do that into my if my in my neighborhood? So how can I track the number of how can I track biodiversity? How can I track housing issues? And thinking that climate is not just related to the environment, but it's also related to housing. So if you don't have like proper housing conditions, it can be impacted by flood. So having one political ecology agenda and using local data and empowering people through education so they can able to tell their stories, tell their narratives, and also we are like leading to a metaverse universe, and data is like our it's kind of like our money, our power today, and then having accountability for our data, learning tools how to work with data collection. So one thing I work with is GIS, so we can create maps, so we can map um, even like what type of biodiversity are you seeing on your surrounding area. There is one website, iNaturalist, where people can track biodiversity using working other projects too to map points for recycling points, even like communities that have struggled with drug abuse, collecting syringes on the street, having informing where those materials can be lead to. So I think education, data empowerment, and storytelling are good keys, good tools to act locally, thinking globally, like one of the slogans of the climate change agenda.
If you can put the links in the private chat, so we're gonna post here in the comments. Marina, I was curious about the work of the Scientist Rebellion in the continent of Africa. Would you be able to explain to us a little bit how does it go there?
hello. It's rather unfortunate also our African coordinator, Boot Fran, is not around, but specifically from our meetings we actually said we'll embark on climate capacitation building, wherein we'll engage different communities, vulnerable communities, and also meet industries and see how best we could actually raise awareness across. Because we told the international team, like, Africa is Africa, and approaching Africa with some of these things, considering the political misunderstanding across. So going to the street, people also politicize from the opposition side and see how best they too will come in and cause some havoc that is not good. And also to ensure our own safety and every other issues across. So we thought it fits that since education is a gap across, so we thought it fits like we could engage a lot of people and also embark on massive sensitization across to actually sensitize people and engage meetings with communities and people, university students, and people within institutions actually, to see how best we can push through and work collectively in bringing sustainable and lasting solutions across.
Got it. And do you have a continued work in Sierra Leone with this? Like, I've seen that the scientists are getting so much pushback here from the cops and the state. How is there for you? How is it in your own country? Like, how is the pushback? How's the support?
Uh, within Sierra Leone alone, like I've been on it really. I started this year because I started my climate journey years back. But like from last year, I thought it fit of starting something across even before joining the scientist rebellion. It was actually within that space that I thought it fit like, yeah, I could join the scientist rebellion and see how best we could work collectively in pushing things through. But because we had different dimensions, we had common dimensions towards approaching the overall threat or the global threat. Because like I told you, based on my research work, I brought out some of these solutions across and have been working on them this year. I already started my own program here called Green Neon, wherein I do more of climate education. It actually works across several solutions across, but specifically we are only focusing on two currently, because we cannot actually afford every other thing because it's just self-funded for now. We are just 3 months into it for now, so basically that's just it. But we are pushing through and we are still making moves. We are engaging communities to see how best we could also actually make them realize that they need to take action, they need to be involved, and they need to take part in addressing such. And there is no time left for us all to act.
Are people being receptive to that message right away, or does it take like a lot of convincing?
That's why I said basically it is quite difficult, especially in convincing adults. You see, so mostly what I did for my own approach before meeting the scientist rebellion was actually engaging more, especially youths and also kids above the age of 8 and 9 years, to see how best we could breed the next generation of leaders that could be capacitated with such approach and such knowledge. Because we do believe with such you can build their mindset across, and you can with such mindsets they could also see the need for them to be environmentally sensitive and also contribute towards their communities. So this is just what we are doing across. But really, for the adults, it's quite difficult in engaging them, because mostly some normally say, "You telling me stop planting? I mean, stop cutting trees, stop charcoal burning. What are the alternatives you are preferring? Are you giving me money? Are you the one feeding me?" So you see, so some of these things are actually the questions they normally ask some of us. So we thought it felt like we need to go back to the drawing board and engage some of these kids, and also try to still encourage these people to realize that such is happening. But even when you try to encourage them, they will say like, no, these things are not happening. It's just natural. It's as a result of God's activities. I forget about this climate stuff. So you see.
It is. I remember I was in the Amazon rainforest I was working in the Amazon rainforest, and we had a play and a workshop for the children. And we have these communities that they live in the margins of the river, all the rivers in the Amazon rainforest. And the guy was so happy that we were there. But it's not the same thing, but it's a similar example of being like this person from the city. Like, the guy was so happy we were there. He fished the turtle, pulled the neck, and I'm like, don't kill the turtle. And then the biologist looked at me, why, you gonna give him a Big Mac? Right? How can you come to my house and tell me that these men that I don't even see, wearing suit and tie, did something that now I have to have you here in my house telling me I can cook with my burnt charcoal? I've been doing that since life is life. My parents did that. My grandparents did that. Oh, you telling me I have to leave my land because that man in that suit and tie did something bad, right? It's pretty much it. Lorena, you were unmuting yourself. Please jump on.
No, I was going to, because Monim was talking about leadership, youth leadership, and I think for youth, it's I would be terrified if I were like 15, 16, like 8, 10 years old, and I would see all these announcements on TV that the world's gonna end. So it's kind of like you have no hope for the future. So it's like a burden for them. So I think that is one of the reasons you can see a youth get engaged, because the older generation, they might think, okay, already live here in like in 20 years, 30 years, okay, I'm not going to be here anymore. But if you are part of the youth now, that is your word, that is what is going to live in your future. So there is no other way than get engaged into that. And it's good to see like their passion on this, and actually all the urgent and investing in education, especially on youth. And they, a lot of those tools in technology for data collection, they are kind of promote made for younger generations. So I think that for the youth, it's a good time, a good tool to be engaged through data collection, through storytelling. They can tell the stories on TikTok, on YouTube, and get together and change this narrative.
Okay, Lorena, so then we have to find you like a young mentor who can just like make all of your TikToks, and you guys just like work as a little team.
Mm-hmm. The youth need to get together, pair together with us old people.
Yeah, and like I don't know.
I am so bad at those, but that's what we need.
Yeah.
It's fun to think like now, Moinina and Lorena. I'm sorry, but I will have to ask you to help us, because we're here in the USA, the land of the free. It's not. It's a lie. And one of the things the USA likes to do the most is to edit history. Literally. There are many states in the South that are forbidding the studies of critical race theory. So we cannot say in certain places that African people were enslaved and brought to the US, that they were beaten to death, that they were tortured, that they were made to work for the sake of the European man that was a settler in native and indigenous land, the land of the indigenous people. In a country where the government is telling you there are certain parts you cannot know about history, how can we win the hearts and minds of people they are averse to education, to be quite honest, because that's how they are trained to be as adults, averse to education. And education always appears in levels of like, oh, because I know all this theory here, la 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 la. It's always in a superficial level, never in the social level. Like there is a cultural identity that doesn't exist on purpose to make the population weaker in that sense. How can we work the minds of the people that do not even understand the land that they are in? They don't know, they destroyed it. They never been part of. Is that too much to ask? Sorry. Because I thought you guys would have that solution. And I was like, I'm going to use that panel so I can answer the question to myself.
I had the same question.
I'm asking for myself, not for a friend.
I was going to ask the same question because...
The one thing that people can do is to vote. If you can vote, vote. Because a lot of those regulations, they are made by, like you can have your own narratives, you can organize in a neighborhood, in a school. But the major, like I saw the article about like the companies that pollute more, those type of regulations, they are made by politicians. So they have the power. So vote for candidates that have a political ecology agenda, vote for women, vote for Black women, vote for indigenous, because those identities, they are facing many intersectionalities, like for being woman, for being part of a minority racial group. So if something is already impact a white man, that is impacting a way more than an indigenous woman, a trans person. So vote for minorities, because if thinking about like one political agenda that will work for a minority, that will work for the most of the population. So that will be my recommendation. If you can vote for candidates that are they're looking for where maybe some other candidates, part of the majority group, of a power group, group with like more power, will not be looking. So that'll be my recommendation. If you can vote, register to vote. Don't forget to vote.
Before we roll the ball to Moinina, I wanted to just, so we are in a country where the electoral system is rigged, is made in ways where you will have certain states with certain weight, and one person, it's not one vote. Not like in our country, Lorena, where we can actually democratically elect a candidate that we voted for. And when you say like vote for minority, we have the Squad, the biggest sellout of all times, and they fit the diversity casting very well, because they have an Arabic woman, a Muslim woman, they have an indigenous woman, they have a Latina woman, they have a Black woman, a Black gay man. Like it's they have everybody there, and still the solutions that are coming from them to us, our solutions are not for us. They are for corporations. These solutions are they're only for us when it's election year, because like what they're doing with the anti-abortion laws right now, what they're doing with Roe versus Wade, like they never codified that into law when they had the majority. And when I say they, I'm talking about the Democrats. Just used this as a way to have a carrot in front of the donkey, so the donkey could keep on walking after the carrot. So now they can threaten people with taking that away so they can vote for Democrats. Like we have an extremely manipulated system. And voting, is a country that has no anti-corruption laws.
Another thing.
Go ahead.
Another thing too that you mentioned, the Democrats, and that I think we all talk a lot about the value of voting, and if there is any, and unfortunately I think some of us has been burned so much. It's like, yes, we will vote, but what do we get out of it? And I think that's sometimes the most frustrating thing, or that the people who are presenting themselves to be on the right side are merely doing it to virtue signal. And then you think that you know, that people who actually care about these things are in and helping you and looking out for you. And so then a lot of people tune out. So that's one thing that happens. But even something that I notice that's happening right now is that people who have voted for Democrats, let's say, they aren't connecting like the war in Ukraine with the climate. Like somebody said to me on the internet, like that I was stupid for saying a land war in Europe affects the world. It does. I mean, the U.S. military is the biggest polluter, and so they will make these kind of like gestures that where they say that they care about this stuff, but when they're giving, you know, our Pentagon billions of dollars, and they won't put any investment into updating our infrastructure or making sure that FEMA has enough money or anything. It's very, that's where a lot of us are like, we're past the voting. So I hear what you're saying with that, but I think that's why like that, the urgency, and especially with the time counting down, like with what Moana was saying, with getting in the streets, like I feel that. I mean, Monina,
I'll make one pledge for, I saw Tony was saying in the chat's general strike. So, you know, going back to that article that you showed, it's the companies that are the problem. So maybe if electoral politics is dead in the US, which it, you know, seems that it is, then, you know, maybe we can go after these companies and have a general strike. And if we don't work, then they don't work. So
the contradiction of this situation is so disgusting that it plays so much into their minds. Because like me and Lorena, we have to vote on the 3rd of October if we want to have any chance to save the Amazon rainforest. So like the the nuance into that, like we have to go vote for Lula.
But your vote counts, right?
What?
But your vote counts.
But our vote counts. Yeah. So if the both of us don't go, there will be 2 less votes. And let's say Bolsonaro wins for like 60 and Lula 58. We both are like, so yes, our vote counts. Our vote, one unity, one person, one vote. That's the law. But the contradiction is that we have to put Lula in power. And I personally have huge disagreements with him. But we have to put him in power because the other one is like it's a gangster. It's solely a gangster, and he's burning and destroying the Amazon River. But in Brazil, here is not the same situation because the vote don't count. The vote don't count. Moinina, my love. Sorry, I'm like talking too much on there.
Yeah, Josanna. In the first place, in a country where votes really don't count, I think the system is not correct. So, in a general sense, the system will need itself to be fixed. And who will fix the system? The people that want the system to be actually fixed. So how will they actually fix that system is by getting into the actual platform wherein they could also make decisions or influence decisions across. So I will only say, I will advise like those that really want the system to be fixed and want a correct system should also take action, like saying like we need this the most and see how best they could reach positions wherein they could also decide or make decisions that could actually lead to the fixation of such processes occurring across. Because even normally, most countries actually, people that are high, that actually know some of these things will say, no, I'm not a politician, so or I have no decision in making such. I think my own area has to deal with so aspects, or I'm a climate activist, so I have nothing to do. Nothing to do with politics, or I have nothing to actually involve with politics. But you see, except we'll have to accept that we could also lead the change if we want it so dearly. So we could actually if we desire for such, we could also make decisions by actually making ourselves available in positions where we can influence the system that is best fitting towards such, and also passion. You see, if you actually have people that are already passionate about such and also ready, because certain people might go there without passion. So as long as they are there, they could also like follow the actual system they actually met on ground. So if you want to actually change, the passion has to be there. The desire for them to actually change the system has to be there, and
His spitting fire. That's
also
that's
people accepting that we need to actually take.
Menina. See, he's spitting fire.
So
You are spitting fire. The connection can't handle it. Can you tell us the last 2 beats of your speech? You were saying, you're telling us that like the end, we lost the end, just the end, just the conclusion.
The end. Okay, I was actually saying, if we could have people that actually think they are very much passionate and they want to actually fix these systems, they need to actually take the positions of trust and accept, like, no, we too, we might, we are also part of the political system, because by nature, every human being is a politician. We are all political beings. So we need to actually accept our roles. Like, yes, with us being in such positions, we could actually change the system, and we could actually transform the situations across, and followed by passion and good leadership and the desire for us to actually drive for a change. So that's my conclusion and my take.
That's amazing. Well, we have 4 minutes to the end. I want to go around the panel and ask you to give your final considerations and tell us where can we find you and promote something that you want to plug. Thanks, sisters.
Of course. Well, I suppose we'll plug the camp.
Yeah, we thank you so much, you guys, for sharing your time with us. It was such a pleasure to meet you, and
so cool.
I'm inspired by your amount of democracy, so I'm gonna keep looking into that. Yeah, I mean, you guys just look into the camp that we have, Camp Dada, and we're the Bank Sisters. You can find us on YouTube
and Rockfin, I guess. Yeah. Thanks, guys. It was nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Something that you plug, where can we find you?
Yeah, that's my social media. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, Lori Barf. And yeah, and I always enjoy like those conversations. They inspiring, and it's good to know that we have allies and how people can organize, like, yeah, going through events like this, just a way to brainstorm. Yeah, meet in person too, get together and then talk about climate and see how we can share our stories, our narratives, make some change. Yeah, thank you all. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Send your social media to me, Lorena, in the private chat so I can plug it here. I have this thing that I talk with the mic muted. Nina, it was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for being here. Can we learn where can we find you? Get your final considerations.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and also LinkedIn. So Facebook also. So I'm actually across all the social media platforms. So, and I would like to say, like, together we will actually achieve whatsoever we want to, and we could work collectively. If only we could work collectively and see our best. Because I believe in one thing always. I believe in the power of human capabilities to actually desire everything we want to achieve in life. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Those are wonderful words. Please send me again. Send me your social media, your Twitter in the private chat so I can plug it here. I just wanted to say that, like, I want to end in a high note, but I don't think there is a high note. I just want to say that we need to find ways to wake up. Because if you are in the core of the eye of the hurricane, the core of imperialism, capitalism, and white supremacy, when you are fighting for yourself, you are fighting for the world, but you do have to fight. Because if we stay at home, if you think the old ways are the ways, no. To be quite honest, voting was never the way in the USA. Like, we have to find a way, and the way is the people. This is a very young country. It has to be breaking down. It has to learn. It has to grow, and to grow, it has to break that peel and get out of that eggshell. And it's okay, it's okay. And we have to pressure the system. It's on us to break it down, and so the new can be born again. I had a pleasure talking to all of you tonight. It was amazing. Thank you so much for everybody in the comments. It's a pleasure to have you all here. I'm gonna plug Moenina's link here. Thank you all so much for being here tonight, for being with us. Please support Camp Dada, and yes, and let's do this and support all the actions that are happening. Support Black creators, and thank you so much. This is RBN signing out. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.